Hey friends, this is Jeff from Fire in the Attic, and today we're talking about rope darts. This is my rope dart collection we have hanging in my living room. This is a steel dart, which is a sharp dart. I suggest never using one of these if you value your ankles or forehead. There's also a steel dart, which is just a weighted metal dart that is not sharp, but it is pointed. We go on to Frank the Rope Dart Master Hatsis, the Dragon's Tooth. It's available from Rope Dart Academy, and I highly suggest if you're a martial artist, rope dartist, that this is the rope dart to get. It was a little bit light to get used to, lighter than the steel darts that I had used before, but it is a very nice rope dart. On next is not quite a rope dart, but is a 9-section chain whip. And then one of my sash darts that I have on the wall. We're going to go down this way to a couple other rope darts that I have made. These are from Fire in the Attic, and these are what I'm going to be explaining on how to size and how to use today for your hand holding. The sash darts, you will receive something like this. Like this. So at the very end of the sash dart, there will be a tiny loop. You get everything untangled and unknotted. There's just this guy sewn at the end. Now for a sash dart, the holding that I'd like to use is just a wrist leash. It makes tricks really easy to learn, and what I'm doing is folding this loop inside out twice, and that's going to push part of the sash through the loop and make everything really clean to be able to put your hand to purpose. When you have a sash dart and you're sizing this guy, I put the wrist leash on, put this through my hand and finger so you have a good feel of where the sash dart is, and you're going to take this and drape this over your shoulder. Now where this sits on me, the sash dart is on the ground. So if you're beginning rope dart, you're going to want a little bit of a shorter dart. So I'm going to measure how much it takes for me to get off the ground. It's going to be about that much for me. And having the rope dart off the ground means that when you're swinging this, if I have all of the slack controlled, and the rope dart goes out, if I put my hand out, it'll never hit the ground. For sizing this sash dart, there's 2 different ways that you can do this on your hand. You can size it pretty simply by opening up this loop, and it would take me about 1 or 2 wraps to get off the ground. And I just move that around so it's at the bottom of my wrist and goes all the way down, and now the dart doesn't hit the ground. That sizing would be pretty adequate for any body wraps that you're going to be using. You'd end up with the dragon wraps, crossbody wraps, all sorts of things for your rope dart moves that you'll be learning in the future. To control the slack for beginners, I just make loops and put it into the bottom side of your hand, and you'd be able to control the dart to swing that way, so you don't have a bunch of stuff that's in your way that gets tangled up in your rope dart. So controlling your slack is the most important part and the most difficult part about using a rope dart. Move on towards the fire darts. I have a couple of fire darts here. This is one of the brand new Fire in the Attic rope darts. It has dragon rope, which is a very nice rope dart rope. It's very resistant to abrasion. You can actually see this is one of my test ones. I rubbed this against a metalworking bench for a solid 5 minutes to see if I can get the rope to do what my cotton rope does, which is kind of start to get rough and flake off. But this one did not, so dragon rope is pretty nice. I haven't actually used dragon rope on my rope dart. I'm currently using Technora, but we'll go that direction to find Technora later. So this is the Fire in the Attic rope dart head that I suggest beginners start with. It does have a big gnarly metal plate on the bottom, which some people do not enjoy. It will get hot, and if you grab it, it will burn you, but not grabbing the thing that's on fire is a pretty good safe rule for fire performance and fire arts in general. So this actually prevents degrading of the rope dart. We can and do put this on the inside for things like poi or other tools. They go inside the layers of the Kevlar, and this same sort of connection is on the bottom of all the Fire in the Attic hex style or cathedral style heads. But when this hits the ground, it doesn't cause as much damage to the rope dart style head. And you'll be able to see that from the dart that I've been using for the last 3 to 5 years. There are a bunch of other head styles or head designs. So here's a giant cathedral, or a giant hex wrap cathedral head. That is a very big rope dart, or it'd be more to the weight of a meteor hammer. This is an Isis wrap rope dart head. It has a solid core all the way through and has a very burly metal center, so it's also fairly heavy. But it has an exposed wick end, so when you start grinding the wick off, and if you start hitting the ground, especially in concrete or asphalt, this will start to show metal on the bottom and it'll start to degrade. You'll need to sew those up if you have any sort of issue with exposed heads. Other popular styles include Monkey Fists. This is Ariel's dart. She is one of the performers from Fire in the Attic, and she is using a cotton rope and a big monkey fist, so she's using also kind of more of a meteor-sized head. This used to be about probably 30% bigger after it was burnt, because Kevlar rope in particular tends to shrink. If you can see on the bottom, there's already some wear on the bottom where it's starting to tear through into the core of the Kevlar. If I can get it to focus on that part in particular, you can see what I'm talking about, where the fibers are extremely unhappy. And if that tears all the way through, a monkey fist is one continuous rope. It will start to unravel and it'll start to cut these bottom pieces, which is not good for a monkey fist and very not suggested for a rope dart, but some people love monkey fist rope darts. This is the rope dart I'm currently using. This is a older design, so it has a big nasty nut on the bottom. We do not make those anymore for obvious reasons. This gets very abrasive and very sharp. But you can see how much my wick has degraded from the bottom after many, many years of extreme use. I've used this for performances, I've used this for practice, and I have just changed the rope to a very short hardware set with a ball bearing swivel and a section of Technora. I'm going to show you how that works for our fire darts for Technora. Alright, so this fire dart is pretty conveniently packaged. I'm going to show you how to wrap this up as well, but you notice it doesn't have a leash on the end. It's pretty easy to size and tie a leash on the end when you get used to your fire dart length, but I suggest being cautious and only cutting your fire dart length to the size that you think you may be interested in. You can never go longer. You'd have to get a new rope for that. So you can only go shorter. So when you get yourself a new fire dart, make sure that you don't cut immediately and regret your decision. The way that I handle fire darts is not with the wrist leash, because when you're doing things with the rope dart and doing things with the fire dart, if you have this tied around your wrist, you can't let go of it. In a martial aspect, I don't use a wrist leash either. I use a grip that allows me to let go of the rope, so if someone else has my tool, they don't have me. The same applies for fire arts. If you have a big body wrap coming up and you have something that could potentially be super dangerous, there's body wraps that end with the fire head sitting right here. And if you have the ability to not have one hand connected into the rope, you would be a lot better off being able to drop the entire thing to get the fire dart off of you. So the way that I achieve that is by doing a wrap with my hand and using a big knot on the end. And I'll show you how to tie one of these knots. It's very easy. It's called a fisherman's knot, and it is just an anchor point that I use to hold on the back of my hand. So I grab the rope and slide this through until this hits the back of my hand. And then I'm going to wrap the back of my hand around the wrist and back over this side like an X. So you should have an X on the back of your hand. And this goes back up through over that knot. So it kind of makes a little bit of a hitch or a catch. So if I pull on this, it's not going to come loose. But if I grab this, I can use my bottom two fingers to make sure that just stays closed. You don't need to have any pressure or hold onto it tight, because it's anchored to your wrist instead of being just pulled out of your hand. Some people also use an untethered style, which means they're pulling through to get the feel of the knot, and they only use their hand to grip the end of the rope, or they'll use one or two knots sometimes, like a couple of talented folk on the Rope Dart Tech group use. But I like to have some sort of anchor point for when my shots happen, and I have that nice pull at the end, so I know that it's connected to my hand. but not permanently connected, so you won't get in trouble. After that, for this style, I just open these two fingers to control all of my slack, and you can go in whatever fashion that you like to control slack and go over and make big loops like that. I usually make maybe 1 or 2 big loops to control the dart or a fire dart while you're performing and while you're swinging the dart. So that keeps everything out of your way, so you don't have all sorts of unaccounted for rope and all sorts of tangles. Now, when you get your fire rope dart, it's going to be a little bit oversized, especially for someone with a different body type than me. I'm 6 foot tall, so when I hold the rope dart across my wingspan and down to the floor, I'm going to have a 12, I actually prefer about a 13-foot rope dart. That means that my rope dart sizing is going to be considerably different from someone who's not 6 foot tall and doesn't like a gigantic rope dart with almost unmanageable slack. So when I include, send out a rope dart, I include way more rope than you're ever going to need. This is the knot that I have on the back, and it's actually sized for a little bit longer than I like it. So what you're going to be able to, or have to do, is to get this rope dart sized by measuring it, figuring out how much your leash of choice uses. So you can do a leash such as like I've done. It's the fisherman's knot. What I do is grab a part of the rope, wrap the part of the rope in a circle, and it's basically just like an overhand knot or a safety knot done twice. So it's going to go once more in a circle to make a doubled up loop. And when you get that doubled up loop, it's just going to go straight through the center. That makes this little X right there. And you can do this 2 or 3 times when this pulls tight, and if it pulls tight cleanly, it makes a nice anchored knot. And it makes a little X that goes across, and it's a big knot, so you can feel at the end of the rope dart where it is. So that's how I make my anchored knot. Lots of people also do not prefer the unanchored or untethered style. So if you're making a wrist leash, you can do something as simple as a slip knot. So you, say I haven't tied one of these in a coon's age. I was not a Boy Scout. So you can make a slip knot simply by making a loop and pulling this through. Slip knots are irritating to me because they start to slide through and would start to pinch your skin. So you can also do a wrist leash style like the one we did on the sash dart by tying a knot over a loop and making an anchor point on the back that you can go through this way. You have to pull that entire knot through itself to make that sort of leash style, and you would cut this piece off. So this also tightens, but it also loosens very easily as well. So that's another option to anchor your wrist to the rope. Well, thank you for listening to me ramble on about my rope darts, and I hope this helped you pick or size a rope dart. If you'd like a rope dart from Fire in the Attic, such as this guy that I use or any of the rope darts that I showed you, we also have those available. We have those available through our Facebook page. Our website is incoming, so keep a lookout for that. And thank you very much, and keep darting. Something cheesy. And this is a ploy. Should you ever encounter one, do not make direct eye contact. It's a vicious creature. Its main mode of attack is flashing rapidly. Only a professional should handle one of the— Ah! That was close, my ninja friends.